Hi, I'm Mike Fox. I'm the owner of Indiana Electrical License Prep. I formed the company in 1990, and for over 35 years, I've been helping electricians reach their goal to get their Master Electrician's license. Um, I started training only in Indianapolis to begin with, but now with Zoom, I can reach students all over the country. So don't think by the name of our company, Indiana Electrical License Prep, that that's the only people who take our course, because we have people from all over the country take the course. I thought I'd cover some of the frequently asked questions I get from electricians every year. Um, Probably the first one is, how do I begin the process to get my license? Probably the first thing to do is get a hold of your city, county, or state licensing people. I say that because sometimes licensing is a county situation, sometimes it's a city like Indianapolis, um, or sometimes the whole state has a license. Okay, so you have to get a hold of the right agency, and usually it's going to be under permit division or construction services or inspections. Okay, so you can call them. Usually, if you can get a hold of any operator at the offices, they'll lead you to the right people. Okay. Uh, One of the first things they're going to want to know is your experience. So you need to find out from them how many years of experience that they require. Okay. And this isn't just you saying, well, I worked as an electrician for 5 years. They're going to want verified experience. Okay. They're either going to want letters from your employers, or they're going to want W-2 forms. If your employer, for instance, is out of business, you can't get a letter from them, you can get W-2 forms from your tax information, and those will usually suffice. Okay. You want to know what the test fees are. And keep in mind, if you take this test multiple times, you will pay that fee again. Um, Indianapolis area, the test fee is $100, but that varies across the country. Okay. Some areas will not let you take the test more than maybe twice in a certain period of time, without maybe a period of time where they want you to go study, or that, maybe a year. All right. But that just depends on the testing agency. And by the way, there's many different testing groups that cities use. A couple I can think of is AMP Industries, or uh, Prometric, International Code Council. Those are different test groups that will actually provide the exam, proctor the exam, and you will get your results from them. All right. Test dates and locations. You need to get all that down before you leave. Make sure that you know where you're going to be going. You be timely, because if you're late on an exam, they'll probably tell you you'll have to come back and do it again. You'll need to know the NEC code year, the National Electrical Code year they're going to be testing on. That varies from city to city. All right. Um, Another good thing to get is from the testing people is a breakdown of the exam. That's usually on their website, but you'll want to know what you're looking at. For an example would be 5% of the questions are general knowledge. 25% of them are going to be electrical theory, for instance, like Ohm's law, knowing how to calculate watts, amps, volts, knowing how to find the current in a series parallel circuit, knowing a little bit about inductance and capacitance. All those things will be covered. Now, if you've never had any of that, don't get nervous about it, because the course we teach, we will take you back through that electrical theory training. A lot of guys maybe have been out of their apprenticeship for a long time, and that's helpful to them. If you've never had it, we can still cover that and give you a good understanding of your electrical theory. Another portion of an exam, it's usually about 20 to 25% of the exam, could be your calculations. And that's going to be how to size conductors, all right? How to size services for residential and commercial buildings. I mean, we even cover marinas and recreational vehicle parks, all kinds of different occupancies that might need electrical services could be fair game on a Master Electrician exam. They may want to know, do you know how to calculate these things? There's also standard methods to do these and optional. So you'll be required to know both. All right. So anyway, that's something you need to kind of break down. And then the remainder of these tests is usually 50% or more is National Electrical Code lookup questions. You know, they ask you a question about electric services. How many disconnects can you have on an electric service? Well, you have to know that, you have to go to Article 230 for services and find these things. If you haven't been trained, if you don't understand where all these articles are, you're going to have a very difficult time on your exam. Is the exam difficult? Yes, it is. The exam has a very high failure rate. If you talk to most of the people who administer the exam, they'll tell you, I've been told anywhere from 80 to 85% of people fail it. And that's because they go into it without knowing really what's going to be on it. Maybe they haven't had an apprenticeship. They haven't had any electrical theory. Their math is weak. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not a lot of heavy math. There will be some simple algebra where you're finding one unknown, and we take you through that to give you a math brush up so you can be, adept at doing those kind of problems. All right. How do I get ready to prepare for the exam? Well, I tell people, find a good spot in your home where you can study, a spot you're not going to be bothered, quiet, comfortable, good lighting, a study desk, because you're going to have a couple books to be laying out there, and maybe some notepads and things like that. So you need a good desk and a good environment to study. Involving your family is a good idea. We have men and women both who take this test. Sometimes we'll have a busy mom who's an electrician. She has kids. She has to tell her husband, look, I'm going to be in there studying for my exam. I'm going to need you to help me with the kids, and vice versa. For the guys who are studying, the wife, might want to make sure that the kids are, quiet. Or if that isn't going to work, I know I raised 3 boys. When I studied for my exam, it was difficult. 3 noisy little guys, running around. They were all little at the time. So, I sometimes would go to the library, but most of the time, I could work it out to where they were pretty young back then. A lot of times I'd just study after they went to bed. Okay. But those are things you really do need to work out, because in my program, you're going to have a 4-hour class each week for 13 weeks. And then you're going to have probably anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of homework. And some guys put in a lot more time than that because they want the code lookup experience. So they're in the back of the book taking the extra practice exams to get used to looking and navigating that code. And that is crucial, because these tests are about 4 hours long, about 100 questions. You may think that sounds like a lot of time, but just try looking up some code questions from all different areas of the code book. You might find yourself 10, 15 minutes on one question. Well, you're going to have maybe 50 of those questions. So you have to be very, very good at navigating the code book and know how to use the index and know how to use all the little tips that we will teach you to get to finding those code questions. And really, you have to just do them. Experience is the best teacher on that. I had guys ask, well, I got a couple buddies that passed their masters and I was going to study with them. I tried that back when I got my exam in the 80s. I tried studying with a couple buddies of mine, and we usually ended up drinking beer or something silly like that. We didn't get a whole lot of work done. Thank goodness I found Mike Holt Industries. Mike Holt is a world-renowned electrical instructor. He's tops as far as I'm concerned. Mike's books, his illustrations, his PowerPoints are just beyond compare. I can tell you it's a pleasure to teach it because everything flows. The students get it. They've got all the visual they need, and they can understand the program. So I've used Mike for 35 years, and I wouldn't use anybody else's products. Okay. So that's what we will be using for class. You'll have a PowerPoint going the entire class. you and I will be going through our workbooks together, and I will be helping you get through these problems, okay? We cover the entire book. So anyway, I think that pretty well covers most of the questions. I am going to have a class starting in early August, August 2nd. Okay, we meet on Saturday mornings from 8 to noon. You can either attend live. We're usually going to be, this year we're going to be at Allied Wholesale at 120 North Lyndhurst. We're going to start class on Saturday mornings, and we'll go from 8 to noon. Now, if you are a distance learner, let's say you're in Ohio, you don't have to come to class. You can attend by Zoom. And I send everyone a Zoom invitation. So let's say you get hung up that morning, you can't get out, you don't feel well or whatever. You can attend on your computer or even your cell phone, okay? So there's a good chance you won't have any problem getting into class. Missing class is a huge problem. Each class hinges on the next. You don't want to miss, okay? And that sometimes is a problem. I don't record the classes, so you need to be there, okay? You can visit me at indianaelp.com. That's all one word, indianaelp, Electrical License Prep. indianaelp.com is my website. And on the website, you can pay for your fees. You can find my email, my phone number. I'll be glad to talk to you if you have any questions.